crypto asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. I'm your host, DZ. Smash the like on the way in. We got a lot of stories to cover. We got to talk about ETH and how ETH is outperforming Solana. We got to talk about the Bitcoin liquidation levels. We got the biggest airdrop, and I'm going to tell you how to claim it. And we even have, TJ, you probably haven't seen this, USA Today telling people to buy XRP.
I did see that, actually. Saw it over the weekend. Got a lot of hate on X, but real quick too, pull your screen in when you get a chance so I can show that.
Oh yeah, because we got a lot of things we're going to be looking at. First thing we're going to be looking at momentarily is going to be the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin bounced perfectly off the 50-day moving average. This is the EMA here, the exponential moving average. And so you can see the weekend just coming down and testing a little bit of the bearish scenario, testing a little bit of a pullback, but now we got a nice little bounce. Now remember, Crypto Face pointed this out. When we have green Sundays, we typically have red Mondays. I don't make the rules. We're just kind of looking at the pattern here. But I made a prediction. I made a bold bet last week, TJ. I don't know if you recall. I said, now that this is on everyone's radar, the next time we see the scenario, we're going to have a green Monday. So far, it looks like we might be correct here, but you can see here, pumping on a Sunday, dumping on a Monday, pumping on a Sunday, dump on a Monday, dump on a Monday, dump on a Monday, dump on a Monday on you, top of the morning. And looking at this one, oh man, I should have just longed. I didn't want to long just because, it's like, all right, well, we just had a long string of green 4-hour candles. But my thesis last week, sometimes I just got to listen to DZ Stramus, DJ.
Yeah, you got to listen to the gut sometimes. I think that was a good prediction, especially after that long washout. I mean, really what we're seeing is most of the time Asia wakes up Sunday night, our time, Monday morning, their time, bids in the morning, closes everything before they go to bed, which is what causes that kind of dump around this time.
And then we had the China FUD this weekend.
Yeah, China's banning Bitcoin. I haven't heard that one before.
We got Satoshi stolen.
Yeah,
it was a heck of a week here, heck of a weekend. All right, well, let's look at the rest. Well, you know what? First thing we need to do though is zoom in. I'm kind of curious what's the charts looking like, and bouncing almost perfectly off that low level of support. We've talked about that yellow line, what it means. Maybe we can zoom out in a bit just so you can show you. And we had a nice bounce starting at 9:30. Directly top half of the hour there. Now, when we zoom out, you see that yellow line. What the heck is that yellow line? Yellow line is, let me hide our rectangles here as we move these. It's basically just a long level of support. This is a multi-month level that we're looking at here. And right now, Bitcoin is trying to maintain this level to maintain the bullish momentum and then maintain, continuous new all-time highs. Right now, the bulls and the bears are definitely fighting over this range.
Yeah, and somebody did ask real quick, I want to show where, what do you mean Satoshi got kidnapped? It was the Satoshi statue.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
This guy right here. He got liquidated this weekend. They got wrapped. Right. I think it's in El Salvador that it is.
It's Switzerland. But he turned into a merman, not a mermaid. It's a merman, Dad. It's a merman. We have a $5 super chat. L Bank will let me sign up because of IP. I'm in the US. You have to change location on the VPN. I don't know if there's New York issues there. I used the VPN one time to sign in, and I haven't used one since. But always follow your local laws and regulations.
There you go.
Got to listen to the tax man out there and the Po9, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's look at the crypto markets. Now we're seeing some pumps. ETH is now up 5%. XRP is now up 6%. Even Bitcoin's up a little bit, 1.4%. We have Tron only up about 2%. Cardano up about 4.5%. And we keep rolling, looking for some big gainers here. Looks like Avalanche, also a big winner, and Litecoin with the 10% pump. Let's look at the big gains here. We got Mantle, Litecoin, and Athena. I gave a deep analysis on Athena to the members on Friday in our Discord. It was one of the best breakdowns on Athena I've ever been witness to. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. At the end of the stream, I'll give some broad thoughts on Athena, but I gave the alpha to the members there. Hit that like button if you're in there. We watched that live. Say is up, Uniswap's up, Injective and Pengu all looking pretty good. But most of these coins, except for Litecoin, still red for the week. So Litecoin holders, you're looking pretty smart today. Looking at the big losers, Toncoin, Story, and Pi, all seeing some declines here. Toncoin still up for the month, and Story way up for the month. So it looks like maybe we're seeing just a little bit of a healthy pullback there. But we're here to talk about ETH today. ETH on the 1 hour is looking incredibly bullish, and we're looking at ancient dragon resistance for ETH. And ETH is now currently trying to knock on that door again. You can see we knocked on the door 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and we failed. It's the 5th time, going to be the time here. And if we zoom out, this is the ancient dragon resistance. This thing is going way back, TJ. This is all the way back to the 2021 peak in October, November. And right now, once we flip this into support, that's when we start really credibly talking about a $5,000 ETH happening sooner than you think.
And how many? Let's see, it's gone up to that 4 times. This will be the 5th run at it. Basically, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So we keep getting rejected off of that $4,000 level. I thought last week, I was talking about it in our Discord, that I thought, one day last week, I can't remember if it was Wednesday, it really felt like it was going to break that $4,000 level that it's been trying to break for so long. I do think we have potential to do it this week. I'm always bullish. Obviously, I'm always the optimist, but a lot of the order books got cleared out with that recent liquidation thing. We've seen huge inflows, which we'll talk about a little bit later today, into the Ethereum ecosystem. So 4K ETH, once it can cross that level, I assume that's where that yellow line is.
The ancient dragon resistance here.
Once it gets over that, it should explode through that with authority. I mean, it's got to close. I don't know what time frame you're looking at, right? There's a dailies or
there's a 1 hour candle.
1 hour. Yeah. So if you go to so you can see we've peaked above it a couple times on shorter time frames, but haven't really closed it solidly on anything like the daily or anything like that.
Yeah, we got 2.5 4-hour candles, and if we go to the daily, we wick right into it.
Yeah. So it's like if we get we need a daily close above 4K, and then it's off to the races. Plenty of clarity. That's when the longs are everybody's excited about their longs. Alt season is officially here when Ethereum goes into that discovery zone, and we're all here for it and ready for it. Big stuff coming out this week, and I'll let you.
And you got to cool down. 16 green Heikinashi daily candles.
Whew.
This is due for a little bit of a correction here.
Yeah, I mean, it had 60% month or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, and wait till you see the ETH Soul chart. Solana Moon boys are going to be a little bit unhappy when they see what I'm about to show them there.
Well, yeah, and ETH has basically been crushing almost all altcoins the last at least month or two. So
beating the micro caps somehow. All right, let's get into some of this. So some of the reasons we're seeing ETH pump. Number one, active addresses is now up to damn near 2021 levels.
Wow.
And so this is very, very bullish. This is these little peaks here. That's when a swap on Uniswap would be like $50. That's when, unstaking something on a DeFi protocol would be a $200 transaction.
Yeah, that's one way I can tell people aren't using Ethereum still, when they say like, "Oh, it's so expensive." I'm like, you obviously haven't used Ethereum in a while, because
it's $4.
Yeah,
TJ.
It's not. It's pennies. But I saw this morning, and it said, "Are you this old?" The low $72, average $400, high $467. This is even in 2022, so this was even higher, more congested in the NFT mania of 2021.
You would pay $300-$400 for an NFT, and the gas fee to mint it in time would be $200-$400.
Exactly.
Times $1,000 for the hot mints.
It's come a long way. I'll say that much.
Definitely. It's been a long time. Let's see this very, very bullish pattern. Essentially, ETH is now copying Bitcoin's 2021 move. 3 RSI taps, falling wedge breakout, and then momentum starts flipping. We're going to talk about falling wedge. Falling wedge, typically sign of potential upward reversal, especially if it forms during a downtrend. We're going to come back to a falling wedge in a second here, but this is Bitcoin's RSI 3 tap. So it goes above, and then it dips below, and it retests number 2, and then it comes in and passes on number 3. You can see right here, same thing for ETH. It shot above the RSI, a much lower high than previously, came up, tapped against it on number 2, and then number 3 shot above this moving average, and then that ended up creating a very bullish scenario. Look how similar Bitcoin in 2021 is looking like Ethereum in 2025, where it's looking at the previous cycle's all-time high, a downward slope here, downward resistance, and then knocking on the door, preparing for the ultimate move where it Kool-Aid Man's through the wall.
Yeah, there you go.
Same setup, everybody.
It looks really good, and that actually is perfectly in line. If I can find it with the M2 I pulled somewhere. Yeah, here we go. And by the way, check out Merlin the trader there. He's a really good
Merlin
account to follow. Somebody we've pulled a lot of stuff from, or that we're referencing.
Yeah, like
right
Merlin,
here, so.
Ollie charts. Really, really good charts between them two on the macro level.
Absolutely. And so on this, we've got this M2 chart here. And you guys realize it gets offset. So this one isn't overlaid with the offset that we typically see of around 80 days. But this move up right here is correlated with this M2 money supply. This one with, here. And so this green one that it's pointing to is this move up. So we have seen some slight contraction recently, but we've got a while before this chart catches up with that. And that's what I think we're about to head into. And that kind of coincides with what you just had pulled up there with that wedge. Yeah, where you go back, or you already lose it. Yeah,
I got it right here. Go back and boom.
There you go. So this is setting up to create this big green move right here. So we've got plenty of room to the upside with the M2, new money coming in that's flowing into Ethereum. I still am bullish for the rest of this summer. I still, we've got a very high likelihood that we see rate cuts in September. I think you do have a little bit of time to accumulate some altcoins at these prices. These are the prices you begged for not too long ago. If you want to accumulate altcoins, now's the time to do it, because it's game on once they start cutting rates.
All right. So wait, you're saying I have to sell my wife and kids just to buy some ETH? No. We're family. Family first.
Just your kids. Just your kids.
Just the kids. Keep the dogs though. Keep the dogs.
I'm just kidding.
How's your dog doing, TJ?
Dog's doing great. She lives with my parents now. Speaking of kids, because she was a little too hyper for the little one. She gets a little freaked out when she gets all jumpy and stuff. But what am I accumulating here? I've been accumulating actually a lot of different stuff as it relates to DeFi. You guys already know I love Arrow. This is the main thing coming out here this week. Arrow Coinbase will integrate base dexes into its app next week, and this is a main thesis behind Aerodrome. Is why I get into it, is the Coinbase support, and I've been doing really well with that. Obviously, Black Hole, another one we've been using a lot. If you guys are in the Discord, we've been crushing it with fees on that. We just keep ramping that up. So those are the main ones I'm interacting with right now. ETH, I'm very happy with. You can see in my whole portfolio is in the Discord. If anybody wants to see it, I'll drop the link here shortly.
I don't know if you recall, I pointed that parallel channel on Aerodrome. I hope you guys bought that dip. Looking at the 3-month, you had a little bit of time there. And so, once you zoom out, you can see you're just kind of in a very, very nice range here, just bouncing up and up. And if you look at the market cap, there is token dilution, but not nearly as bad as what you expect. We're still well below the $1.6 billion peak. Right now, trading around, I want to say 700 million, 691 million. So not even there.
And I agree. This guy here says Arrow's like buying the base coin. I agree. That's been our thesis from the beginning when we started Blockchain Basement. Base was just in testnet, and we said, this is the closest thing you can get to buying on base. It's going to kind of be the lifeblood of base, and that's proven to be true. We've done very well with it. So,
and if you're scared, just buy Coinbase, the stock. I think both are going to benefit from that.
Very true.
All right, it is time to piss off Solana Moon boys.
Where's Steve-O?
Solana not looking so hot compared to Ethereum. ETH continues to outperform Solana, another yearly high. Where does this top out? I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. I do think it's going to reverse. I do think Solana is going to start gaining some of the share back from Ethereum. When you look at this, I think these are daily candles. I pulled up basically the opposite chart. This is Sol priced in ETH, so that's why we see the opposite. So ETH price in Sol price in ETH. In that falling wedge, the falling wedge, if you recall, this is typically sign of a reversal, especially during a downtrend. This is 100% a Solana ETH downtrend right now. And I think we're going to come back to at least the bottom part of this range. If you zoom out, this is a multi-year parallel trading range for ETH, Solana, ETH and Sol. Sol had been just gaining against ETH, gaining against ETH, gaining against ETH. And then he said, "Daddy's home and get out of my recliner." And why did you take the big piece of chicken?
Yeah, I do think Sol will hit its rally. Actually,
yeah, I mean, this is probably going to break out. is
Yeah,
my
this-
prediction here.
This could be a decent
Could be
time to
upside.
accumulate SOL. It's been getting pretty beat down with the pump fund stuff. Even there was a lot of bonk controversy over the weekend with just mass extraction, rumors and all that sort of stuff. If they can move past some of the meme coin narrative and stay close to retail and keep them engaged, obviously Solana is a great chain. Can you pull up just the regular SOL USD chart? I think I haven't looked at it too closely recently, but it could be coming down to some decent support levels there. Yeah. Wow, look at that cup and handle.
Yeah. If it could turn into something here. Let's see. I think on the log chart is where that trend line was for potentially there.
Yeah,
so,
look at that. It looks like it's getting close to that level. Yeah, it seems like a decent spot to accumulate. I still hold a ton of Solana. I don't hate on Solana. I think it has room to the upside. It's one that hasn't moved too much recently, and I think it's one that you're going to see very good performance once rate cuts come. I do think it's ETH season right now. We're going to see, and if you think of the traditional alt season cycle where Bitcoin moves first, Ethereum makes up some ground while Bitcoin trades sideways, and then altcoins or then mid caps, low caps, that sort of thing. I think Solana will start to move well once ETH kind of makes new all-time highs and then starts to cool off a little bit. If we see ETH get to 5K, you see some sideways action. I do think Solana mostly sees action during rate cut season and risk on season, in my opinion.
Well, Solana did just do something very bullish here. This is Wolf of All Streets. Scott Melker pointed this out. I want to take his chart here. I'm not a big fan of golden crosses signals unless they happen right at the price. And in this case, we have Solana flipping the 50 and the 200-day moving averages to support, confirmed on the daily close today. He just posted this about an hour and a half ago. And so it could be like I'm making the prediction. Solana is going to look really, really good over the next 30 days. You're hearing it here first. Am I going to buy more Solana or trade ETH into Solana? I loaded a Solana bag, so I probably don't need to add to it. Then it gets to the point you have to sell something, and I don't know what exactly I would
That's
sell.
always the hardest part. There's always something to buy, but if you have to decide to sell something, it's always hard. Like you've got strong convictions and thesis.
Yeah, do I do the left or
buy.
the right kidney?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That's where you get to talking about the kids again.
I was going to try to sell my eyeball, but they're like, this
They're only giving you 50% on the dollar.
Would you get this from an old man's corpse?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
You bought that thing already. That's a used eyeball.
Oh man, speaking of corpse, how about who was here for the donating to science comment Friday stream? Hit the like button if you're here for that. Well, let's talk about these ETH mega whales, and then we're gonna roll into huge airdrop. I'm gonna teach you how to get the world's biggest airdrop, potentially coming maybe within a week, folks. So it's right after this. So ETH mega whales continue buying through the weekend dip, and they classify what exactly is a mega whale. And so somebody's buying a ton of ETH, said Arkham. One address accumulated $300 million worth of ETH from OTC at Galaxy Digital. Also, BlackRock has been loading up on ETH with the iShare ETH ETF, seeing 1.7 billion in inflows over the past basically 2 trading weeks, past 10 consecutive trading days. And right now, the mega whale addresses are starting to surge over the last month. So what the heck's a mega whale? Mega whale is those who have more than 10,000 ETH. And we have added 200 of these mega whales in 35 days time. Let's do the math here. 10,000 ETH times 3,600. You're looking at $36 million there. So we got some whales. They're buying, and they're buying a lot. But ETH is typically bearish in August. So similar to Bitcoin, which has been bearish 8 of the last 12 Augusts, Ether has seen losses over the past 3 years in August. So this might be the 4th one. But in the last post-halving year, August 2021, it pumped 35% during the month of August. So keep an eye out on ETH's price here. But I want to give people free money. Do people like free money? We got a $2.49 euro or pound here. Euro will link hit $100 in this coming run. I don't think it does it in the coming run. I think it needs to reject off the previous all-time high, which is 55. Then it's going to come down probably to the 29, 28, maybe 30 something. And then that's when you can see it run to maybe potentially $100. But I think we're going to get a pretty large sell-off event near that $50 range.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do think it can hit 100K or $100 this cycle. That is pretty optimistic in my opinion. I do think it goes well over 50. it could get close to 100. I mean, a lot's going to happen when they kick their pricing structure off. I think it's September, October, which is like perfect timing with rate cuts. If they cut rates and Chainlink starts charging their clients for the first time ever, you're going to see that, I think, price skyrocket. I was reading a thing today. I think it was Franklin Templeton talking about, hey, if we move our $1.7 trillion over, it saves us over $200 million just to use Chainlink, saves them $200 million, not even counting the transaction fees, which it would also save them a ton on that. So I do think Chainlink is a force to be reckoned with. It's unstoppable at this point. It is going to be the framework that they're using. I think they just started streaming the S&P 500, NASDAQ, SPX, all that stuff, all the price feeds from that 24/7. So
I got the catalyst for ETH, or I'm sorry, for Link hitting 200. It's right here. The secret note I'm reading. You know what the secret note says?
What's that?
So you know how we're waiting for ETH staking?
Okay.
And Solana staking on these ETFs? The way that works is, you know, BlackRock has a whole bunch of ETH, whole bunch of Solana, and then they add it to the network as a validator. Imagine they can be a Link validator getting paid in Chainlink. How much BlackRock, or how much Link does BlackRock want at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's going to be dividends and validators, but this really comes down to control, which we know BlackRock and a lot of these big entities love control. They're not going to want to operate trillions of dollars on a system that they don't feel like they have a say in some form of governance in. And I think Chainlink is going to be the framework a lot of these entities, whether it's a government, whether it's a major institution, use to create. They're calling it regulatory clarity, which it is, but it's also a framework by, if you don't follow these rules, we can kick you out of the system in some way, shape, or form, or at least not let you play within our version of the system. So,
speaking of Chainlink, what do you think of Pyth as a rival? Pyth is the Chainlink of Solana. Is it worth a look? I've sold all my Pyth, and I've recommended my friends, family, and colleagues do the same. The main reason Chainlink has now came to Solana, and so that might be the nail in the coffin for Pyth in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm all the attention's on Chainlink. It's got a huge advantage. That being said, generally speaking, in that Oracle space, like in the traditional Oracle space, a lot of companies will run too. But if you think about like how well Oracle has done on the, in the traditional world compared to other competitors, Oracle is far and away the advantage. And if you've got an opportunity to buy it early, I'm with you, DZ. I hold a lot of Link. I don't hold any Pyth. Not
Pyth
saying it's going away.
Kmart.
But yeah, there you go. It's the secondary option.
Fighting words right there. All right, let's teach people how to get free money. So we're going to talk about Midnight, and we're going to talk about the Lace wallet, everybody. So here are the details, because let's back up. So what the heck is this airdrop DZ's referring to? It's called the Midnight airdrop. We've done a video on it. Probably have to do a new one, because I'm hearing rumors maybe potentially this week the airdrop is happening. And also what's happening, I think it's in Vegas this week, TJ.
Rare Revo, the conference. Yeah.
Do crypto protocols sometimes use conferences to do big announcements like this?
They sometimes do, often do. Actually, if I remember, Rare Evo last year, most Cardano related announcements ended up coming out of that conference.
I mean, another example, like El Salvador, they announced that at Bitcoin conference. So we're seeing Midnight rumblings and rumors of the big airdrop happening this week. We have a big Cardano and other blockchain central conference happening this week. So what the heck is the Midnight airdrop? How do you claim the Midnight airdrop? If you don't know, it's a privacy focused partner chain on Cardano, and it's going to be at 37 million wallets across 8 chains. So you probably qualify here. Here are the details. If you self-custody, or if you have this in a self-custody wallet, Cardano, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, BNB, on that MetaMask, AVAX, and Brave, BAT, the BAT token. So only the main L1 tokens count. CNTs, NFTs are going to be excluded. So most of you, smash the like button if you hold some of these 8 tokens. But TJ, we got more details. Now, the snapshot has been taken. Don't try to buy these 8 tokens. And if you hold any of these 8, you qualify for the airdrop. You don't have to hold all 8. If you just hold one of them or all of them, you're going to get this airdrop. Other details, we have the amount of addresses. Feel bad for Brave, only 24,000 addresses. 17 million Bitcoin addresses. That's insane. Did you know it was that many?
No, that's a
I had
lot.
no idea. ETH addresses, 7.8 million, basically 8 million. Solana addresses, XRP addresses, BNB addresses, Cardano, Avalanche, and BAT token addresses. So we're talking about massive amounts of people are eligible for this airdrop. But what do you do with the Midnight token? How can you, interact with it? Well, first thing, how much are you going to get? Per Bitcoin, looks like you're getting about 700. Per ADA, you're getting about a little bit more than a third. And per XRP, you're getting a little less than 5% here. If you got per ETH, 50 tokens. Per Solana, 3 tokens. Per BNB, 12 tokens. And then you get changed for BAT and AVAX here. So are you prepared for the nightfall? Well, the best way to get prepared, everybody, is going to be Lace, the Lace wallet. We have a link down below in the description. So go download the Lace wallet. Make sure there's going to be a lot of, just make sure you're clicking the right safe links. We have a safe link for you down below. Add this to your browser. Lace is going to be the only wallet that's going to be able to have all the features of Midnight Day 1. If I had to ask why, this is the wallet platform from IOG. This is Charles Hoskinson's pet project, if you will. He's the main investor of IOG. This is the main wallet of IOG. So through the transitive property here, we're talking about a very well-connected wallet. So go check out Lace. And now you know how to get the Lace token. You know how to get the Night token. You know how to get the Lace wallet. And I'll probably do a video on Lace, just because still people seed phrases and stuff like that. There's a lot of newer people in crypto, so just a lot of free money.
Lace, formerly the Nami wallet. If you guys used Nami in the past, that's something
Nami
we've used a ton, and like you said, upgraded features. I did see somebody ask,
how do you claim it?
Yeah, how do you claim it?
Just get a they're gonna hit your wallet, but make sure you have a Lace wallet, so then you can send it to there, and then you can I think they're gonna have things with the dust token. It's gonna be the gas token of the Night ecosystem. So you don't have to do anything. It's going to airdrop into your wallet. Make sure you get the Lace. So if you have like multiple wallets, bring it all into the same umbrella here. Get it all under the same house here. And, I was a huge fan of Nami back in the day. I'm a big fan of Lace. It's the wallet I use every single day, folks. So it's the DZ. And TJ, I think even it's the one you use, right?
Yeah, for Cardano stuff. We used it a ton. And I like the Lace wallet too, and the Lace team. And like I said, these new features that are going to be available, I'm very interested to see everything that Midnight, at least the roadmap and what they're talking about rolling out, if they really can bring Bitcoin DeFi into the Cardano ecosystem. That is the number one thing that makes me bullish on
and all those chains too. I mean, I know Bitcoin is kind of the main thing, but XRP DeFi, Solana DeFi, BNB, very, very large. I mean, all of these chains, I don't know about Brave, but I don't want to talk bad about the BAT token here, but all these chains have robust ecosystems.
Absolutely. I just think right now Bitcoin there's a ton of capital there that is probably interested in interacting and earning. So if they could solve that issue, that's huge for both Bitcoin and Cardano. And I think that'd be a huge momentum booster, in my opinion.
All right. So, a lot of people are talking about this. If it's in a ledger, no, you got to go ahead and get it on that self-custody wallet, though. We do have the link down below. And here's the question I was looking for. Does it have to be Google Chrome? No. So we use this browser. We're using Chrome. So if I can share the screen real quick. So it has add to Chrome browser. But if you're they have Chrome, Brave, I guess you got to have the Brave one, Microsoft Edge, and even Firefox, old school right there. So Firefox makes sense for Cardano and privacy focused people there.
So you're saying Yori on Ledger, would that make it eligible?
Ooh, now that's above my engineering skill. I am not sure. I'm not sure, because that Yori, of course, is a self-custody wallet, but they have a partnership with Ledger. So someone's getting it.
Yeah.
I hope it's you.
Most likely you will, but you have to check a lot of times when you're using some of those other ones. But most likely if it's self-custody, it's there somewhere. You just have to claim it.
All right. Thank you, Luis Rincon. Rincon, Puerto Rico is where I went when I went to Puerto Rico. Fun town. Nice people there. All right, let's talk about crypto funds here. So it's a little bit of bad news and a little bit of good news. TJ, what do you want first?
Give me the good news.
Well, the good news is ETH isn't seeing an outflow. Also, the good news is BlackRock isn't seeing an outflow.
Nice.
So that's the good news. The bad news is overall, though, we did see a pretty significant outflow, 223 million, and it ended the 15-week winning streak So to me, that's the more that's what really sucks. It interrupted the 15 weeks of consecutive inflows, and they're blaming it on the FOMC meeting. It was positive Monday, Tuesday. Then we had Powell open his mouth, start yammering, and then we ended up in the negative 223 million in outflows there. Now looking at Ether though, ETH defined that and had the 15th week of positive inflows. ETH still managed to pull in 133 million. But BlackRock, I always say, canary in the coal mine. Don't worry about them other, investment firms. Don't worry about Van Eck. Worry about BlackRock. BlackRock still added. BlackRock added 3,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's right here. 13. 13 plus add that one plus last week. So 14 weeks. And reminder, only 3,000 are mined per week. 3 weeks ago, they bought 21,000. So even a light week like last week, they bought basically all the Bitcoin that was mined.
Yeah.
This is very, very bullish.
Well, and they're going extremely bullish on Ethereum right now. I mean, the ETH, like you said, the ETH inflows have been huge, record setting. I think speaking of BlackRock, I like watching AIXBT. Deutsche Bank launches a Euro stablecoin on ETH while SharpLink grabs 30K. BlackRock ETFs add 7 billion ETH in July, zero outflows. Binance feeds Wintermute 8K. They're not even trying to hide the accumulation game. So they're major institutions and big whale players are definitely in accumulate Ethereum mode. They have been for the last month, which is part of why we're seeing some of that volatility. And that could be why we're rejecting off that 4K more than once, because they're trying to keep it in that range while they can get as much as they can. And then, like I said, once we get closer to those rate cuts, I think it's going to be hard to hold these altcoins back, and it's true risk on season.
China, yeah, it's Larry Fink here. I need you to FUD Bitcoin again.
Yeah, there you go.
What's happening there?
All right,
Yeah. If you believe BlackRock is a very, very powerful organization, and I don't think there's anything to the BlackRock in Antarctica that's related to the BlackRock, the name and the company, but I'm sorry, North Pole. That's the North Pole conspiracy.
No,
all those conspiracies about the globe gets a little crazy.
BlackRock, guys. If you guys don't know, it used to all be Blackstone private equity. They got too powerful, and they said you got to split it up. And they're all right, we'll call it BlackRock. And so there's BlackRock and Blackstone, same company. Still stupid.
Don't look too deep into the leadership of those two.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Bitcoin 100 list, everybody. So these are the corporate treasuries. So we talked about Wall Street and the ETFs, but we got another avenue on the other side, and that's companies adding it to their balance sheet, or adding it, kind of as speculative investment here. So the Bitcoin 100 list, it just has the top 100 companies. 22 companies increased their Bitcoin position last week. So 22% of them increased their Bitcoin position, 52,000 net. Trump Media Holdings are estimate, but now floor, the 100th company, if you have 44 Bitcoin, you're now just ranked 100. The top 100 now have almost 1 million Bitcoin. And of course, strategy is 600,000 of the 900,000 there. So shout out to MicroStrategy doing the dang thing. Marathon Digital still holding strong with 50,000.
So what do you think? What's your take on this theory that in 10 or 15 years, all of the biggest companies, all of the top companies on the stock market will have Bitcoin on their treasury sheet, either by Bitcoin treasury companies growing in value or the majors adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet? You think that happens in 10 to 15 years?
All the major companies that have significant balance sheets. There are some that, there's a fast turnaround. There's some that kind of operate almost in the negative and they're borrowing credit. Like if your entire balance sheet is, using credit to basically, buy your land, buy your buildings, create your buildings and make your payroll, probably shouldn't add Bitcoin to your balance sheet there. Like, oh, well, it's a 20-year note. Yeah, maybe, get your debts down. But the ones with significant cash reserves, basically Apple, Google, Amazon, how many years did you say?
10 to 15.
Yeah, I give it 10 to 15.
Yeah, because that's the working theory that, a lot of people are working with right now, that in about 15 years, all of the top 20 companies will be Bitcoin treasury companies, either by Bitcoin treasury companies like MicroStrategy growing into the top 20, or the other ones adopting a similar strategy to stay at the top. And I basically agree 100%. I do think that's going to happen. And I've never been more bullish on the macro of Bitcoin than I am right now. I've never felt more certain that Bitcoin was going to $1 million over time, or even significantly higher than that through the de-dollarization of a lot of what's going on. Stable coins, I think, are going to operate and bring a lot of, basically update the entire system, get it all onto crypto blockchain related things, and Bitcoin over time will maintain its dominance as the #1 store of value, and everything over the next 15 years, everything slowly falls against Bitcoin, and more people will wake up to that. And I think we'll just see Bitcoin just pass gold and continue on in a generational lifetime run that hopefully you and your family are not missing out on, because I truly believe Bitcoin is the #1 way you protect your family in the future. That's why
I agree.
we do
About
this.
everything bleeds to Bitcoin in the long run, but there's that damn XRP chart and that Tron chart. They're just kind of stuck in a range. I see a lot of people talking about XRP. We got some XRP news coming for you momentarily. Stick around for that if you hold some XRP. But first, let's still finish talking about this Bitcoin scenario. And now we have the Bitfinex whale. Do you remember Mr. 100? I think they called him Mr. 200.
Yeah, Mr. 100. Yeah, I remember.
He's back. He's back as the Bitfinex whale here, and he has now doubled his TWAP rate.
TWAP.
Time weighted average price. That's if you're buying algorithmically, like Michael Saylor was recommending, where it's like you buy a Bitcoin every minute, so your time weighted average price. So right now they're buying at 600 Bitcoin a day, or $800 worth of Bitcoin a second. That is insane. 800. You're looking at $48,000 a minute. $48,000 a minute that they're buying for every minute. I mean, that's insane. So this man is just or woman just completely going nuts, going ham. And so they started 300 Bitcoin a day, and they have just recently upped it to 600 Bitcoin a day. Something to keep an eye out on. This guy definitely was timing the market well last time.
$800 worth a second, not 800 Bitcoin a second. Yeah,
$800 worth. $800,
which I think you said. I'm just making sure that's clear.
It's a twap. Yeah. That is a great Star Wars reference, and it was memed on 4chan a whole lot, but for a different reason. All right, let's talk about the rate cuts here. This is going to be some of the fuel for the fire for some of these altcoins. 89.1% on CME Group. If you go to Polymarket, it is now up to 81. It was 79. Looks like it is now moving to the upside here. So we're seeing a little bit of change here. 71. Now it's up to 73 on the 25 basis points there. So good news for altcoins if we do get the rate cuts. We've talked about Jerome Powell enough last week. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but let's just hope he cuts next month.
It's going to happen.
I heard a good theory. If you knew you couldn't get fired until May and your boss kept calling you ugly, stupid, would it increase the odds that you might do something stupid like, not cutting the rates?
Sure, but Trump's not his boss. He doesn't take orders from Trump.
That's a good point. That's what coworker, I guess you could say. He's a coworker. Your coworker keeps calling you stupid and ugly and dumb and just too late and just consistently making fun of you.
Yeah, true. But I just think I do think Powell separates, they can't, he has his orders that he has to follow from whoever that might be, maybe other central bankers, maybe the people that own the central banks, who knows?
Maybe it's Ghislaine.
What's that?
It's not. I'm joking, of course.
No. And so, this is all of this stuff between Powell and Trump has just been a circus for show, in my opinion. This is both of them doing their jobs to basically please their constituents and keep everybody on their side, thinking they're doing the right thing. Trump, I agree that we should have cut rates, but they, realistically, what they should do is admit the entire system is broken and that we need a new system. And in some ways, that's what Trump is doing by saying we're all going towards Bitcoin and crypto, which is a direct threat to central banks all around the world, which again, that's Jerome Powell works at a central bank, and that's his job, is to protect the central bank. So they're kind of their interests are not aligned, even though the public want us to think that they are. They're not right now. And so I think what we're seeing is the volatility and the upheaval that comes when we are in the changing of a financial system. People realize it's changing. They're getting positioned and they're getting in place to be prepared for when it shifts. But they can't let it happen too quickly. I think that's a lot of what happened in 2021. If we kept on the path we were on in 2021, Bitcoin and the digital asset market would have run away before some of the wealthiest people in the world got a chance to be positioned. They've been positioning since 2021. All of 22, 23, 24, 25, they've been accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, and it's been very, very, very clear. A lot of that being through BlackRock, a lot of the stuff we just mentioned is the wealthiest people in the world accumulating. Right now, they have to hold it in place, and then I think when September comes, they will cut. They'll cut again. They'll probably get 2 more cuts before the end of this year. Then we're going to have more cuts in 2026. Prices go crazy, and we just, all of us that are holding Bitcoin get to ride that wave forever. So
yeah, and the revision. Yeah, there's a lot of data, and we're just gonna have to wait and see how the tea leaves pan out. Now, I do want to cover, what exactly happened with China. Those who are new to cryptos, your first cycle, you might see this 3 more times in the next 12 months. Has China banned crypto again? Market starts to panic amid zero evidence. It's going to be a common thread every single time you hear that story. So fresh rumors of another sweeping crypto ban in China triggered unease, and then Bitcoin dipped below 113. Known entities, even like investing.com, were the ones adding fuel to the fire when they went to X. Is it true? No concrete evidence to suggest China is enacting a fresh crypto ban. In fact, the phrase China bans crypto is something of a meme in the crypto space, an alarm that resurfaces every few years. Sometimes it feels like a few times a year, often triggered by unverified leaks or outdated concerns about capital outflows, energy consumption, and central authority. Do you think it was coordinated FUD? Feels like coordinated FUD to me, TJ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like most of the time it is,
Yeah, I would agree. Most of the time,
every single time with them. So,
and maybe this is why.
What do you got there?
Liquidation heat map. It could have been just to get people feeling a little too greedy, a little too long. And now, all the high leverage positions were liquidated there. I pulled it up myself. You can see max pain starts 113,500, but to the upside, 115,300. So 13.5 and 15.3. Maybe a couple levels to pay attention to. If you see, like crazy wicks, but no candle bodies hanging out in that area, probably just means some positions getting liquidated. What you don't want is the bounce, the ping pong. That will really wreck. Then everybody gets wrecked, and sometimes we see that. Looking at the number, $5.6 billion in shorts get liquidated. Bitcoin hits 125K. The majority of the shorts liquidated at 121. Send it.
That's
CZ.
what we need. Yeah. We want the shorts. We want more shorts than longs. I do think we got the washout. We didn't even talk about this, I don't think, but hit the CME levels that a lot of people were looking for, even the ones that we cleared certain ones Friday, or Thursday, we cleared even more Friday and over the weekend. So I would say order books are clear for a move up this week. I did see chat saying that Trump just came out and said he's going to be doing more tariffs on India.
That older, right? Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that does kind of take a little bit of wind out of our sails. I mean, I know we were at 115.5. We pulled back down a little bit.
We don't import a damn thing from India. I've looked at the numbers, compared to their GDP, compared to their outsized population, they have insanely high issues regarding, so we don't get too much. Now, of course, we get a lot of things from India, but when you compare it to that size of economy and 1.3 billion people, they're a relatively minor trade partner on the grand scale of things there.
No, I agree. I think a lot of this stuff is all noise and negotiating, and it's just leverages, lever tools he's using. But every time he comes out with and says something about a new tariff, we almost always see immediate price retrace, reset, kind of wait and see how this is going to affect stuff. Generally doesn't have a dramatic effect, in my opinion. And I think all of this will be behind us this year. The U.S. will be in somewhat of a better position. The dollar will have at least some more demand through crypto. And I think, again, we're going to still see a bullish 2026.
I thought that spoon down the things was real. Then you got me there. The only thing we get from India, second-rate doc. No, we get a lot of, I was actually going to say telephone support, and that was actually the second half of your part. We do get a lot of tech support, and there are a lot of, some iPhone suppliers are there. So, as we're trying to de-China-ize, I guess, our capacity, a lot of it is rolling over into the neighboring country, which is India. All right. Now, we also got Bitcoin mining difficulty. This is also very, very bullish. If you recall, we got all types of FUD articles a couple weeks ago talking about Bitcoin mining is shutting off for AI, and AI is killing Bitcoin, and no one wants to mine Bitcoin. They just want to do stuff with AI. And now we're just at a fresh new all-time high. So very, very short-lived blip. Although it was a pretty severe and quick blip, it is kind of interesting. You don't see anything like that on the chart, but Bitcoin mining difficulty, that's just going to be the compute power of all the computers trying to solve the Bitcoin lottery, I guess. If you don't know how Bitcoin works, it's each 10-minute block. Imagine there's like a secret number and everybody's trying to guess the number, and only one person's going to guess that number. If you got a bunch of machines like F2 pool, they got like 30,000 people trying to guess the number. And if you're a solo miner, you're just all alone trying to guess your number, you're less likely to win the Bitcoin block.
Yeah, and a easy way to think about it is the hash rate is the strength of the network, or the amount of money being put into securing the network, in other terms, because it's the amount of power you're using. A lot of times, some of the underrated charts with Bitcoin, a lot of people that have been in Bitcoin for a while will say, watch the lows of Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin consistently makes higher lows and the hash rate continually goes up. And when you see the hash rate going up, that means the network is getting stronger. More people are committing to their power to the network, which means the network has more value, more security. And again, when that happens, the difficulty goes up, so that way it can stay democratized. It's very, very well thought out system, and it's been working very well for.
Yeah, I don't know if it readjusts every 2 weeks. I don't know if you said that there. So.
I didn't. No.
Yeah. All right. Now calm down. Calm down on the China FUD. Calm down on the 113. When you look and you zoom out, this is very, very normal. Last bull run, the basically 20 to 21 range, Bitcoin corrected 7 times. One of the times, huge decline, 51%. A lot of people are saying it's over. I'm just too eternally optimistic. I didn't think it was going to be over. But yeah, this is 2021. This is the June-July dump here. So it started in May. Bitcoin would fall 50% in 10 days. I remember this period. It was forlorn around the office.
I remember. Millions
Painful.
wiped off the balance
Your
sheet.
altcoins fell more.
Yeah.
Your altcoins fell a lot more.
A lot more.
It hurt. It hurt.
That's where you felt like 78% down, 85% down. We rallied back, some of them, but
yeah, Cardano would do a new all-time high. Solana, ETH, they would all do new all-time highs in the second half. But yeah, there's always going to be some significant declines. Do not get panicked out, or don't panic yourself. Don't be a panicking when you see a 25% decline, 30% decline, 50% decline in this environment might be a little bit scary. But if you look, you zoom out, we're just kind of testing in a range, and everything is well if you just zoom out, because this is just a great assessment. Your government is broke. Your bank is insolvent. Your currency is melting, and you're still debating if Bitcoin is risky, bruh.
Yeah.
Can I get a bruh in chat?
Bruh.
Can we get some bruhs?
Come on. Yeah. People that tell me Bitcoin's risky, and then I ask them some basic questions about how things work, I realize very quickly they have no idea how Bitcoin works. Not only do they not know how Bitcoin works, they don't understand how their bank works, and they don't understand how their government
and
works.
And like 90% of the time, they think the dollar is backed by something.
Gold. They say gold still. Like, oh, the dollar's backed by gold. And it's like, dude, bruh, where have you been since the 70s?
Bruh.
Yeah, come on. And some of these people, like, again, what cracks me up is they're coming from a place of like intellectual superiority to try to tell me that I don't, that I'm risking too much. And it's like, and then they go out and like the other meme you say all the time is like, yeah, people will tell you Bitcoin's risky, and then they'll go buy a $7 coffee. And it's just like, what is going through your head? Like,
have you gone down the double metal rabbit hole where, before the Titanic and everything that happened in the 19 teens with our gold standard, it used to be a dual metal choice. It could be silver or gold.
Right.
And then apparently, removing off of silver is even referenced in Wizard of Oz, and how it hurt the farmers, because silver was, quote unquote, the people's choice. Gold was the banker's choice. Silver started to appreciate so much against gold, they basically removed your ability to trade into silver versus gold.
Yeah,
so
it's always
a
the
whole
bankers.
little rabbit hole there.
Always the bankers, man.
Always the bankers. 100% there. All right, now speaking of Bitcoin, how about that Satoshi story? I just want to show you a story of 3 parts here. This was the Satoshi Switzerland.
That's so cool. Yeah, somebody on X 3D prints like mini versions of these, and I wanna get something like that somewhere.
I
It's
think
really
the
cool.
author or the artist said it took him 10 months.
Yeah,
10 months to make there.
that's really
10
cool.
months to make and plan there. So something happened to it yesterday morning. It disappeared. It left its feet. You can see its feet. I guess the guy was a creep. He was into feet there. Bitcoin founder disappears again. The statue unveiled last year in Switzerland as a tribute has reportedly been stolen. Just Satoshi staying on brand. But folks, what's the main point of stacking Bitcoin? So you can retire and go to the beach. He just went to the beach, everybody. He was found in Laguna waterfront. Speculation suggests vandalism may have been the work of local youth or gang-related activity. Turns out it was Swiss Independence Day over the weekend.
Really?
I think it was just a drunk Swiss.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like their 4th of July. They all got wasted, and it was probably the youths.
Brew Satoshi in the river, huh? Or in the ocean.
Do you think it was like a bunch of youngins, or was it like some coked out bankers?
Nah, somebody who got liquidated trading meme coins was in a really bad. Somebody that a Bitcoin maxi had been preaching to for a while. You need to buy Bitcoin. You need to buy Bitcoin. They got liquidated on some memes and they just lost it. You know, they were trying to pump something on Pump Fund. And they said they'd steal the statue, and it just none of it worked.
Bruh. People are mad about that. I'm surprised they took it to the beach. I guess you can't take that home. You get caught with it, and probably pretty serious fine there.
Yeah, they probably didn't even remember that they did it the next day.
Those Swiss. There's a hole in your story. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin heist here. This is kind of crazy. This just got found out over the weekend. A $3.5 billion Bitcoin heist has been exposed, and it was a Chinese mining giant vanished after a huge mega theft there. And so, like I said, $3.5 billion worth. The Chinese mining pool was called Lubian, and it revealed that 127,000 Bitcoin were drained from their reserves all the way back in December 2020, Bitcoin trading around $20,000 at the time. An investigation at Arkham now points to a major hack as the reason for the sudden exit. December 28th, 2020, they compromised more than 90% of the pool. The following day, another $6 million worth of Bitcoin USDT were siphoned off one of their Bitcoin Omni wallets. Now, how did this happen? They generated their own private keys, and they may have used a flawed algorithm for generating these private keys, which could have left wallets open to brute force attacks. It's my theory that the people that introduced this algorithm for generating private keys maybe had a backdoor the whole time. Maybe it was flawed the whole time, and maybe people were, just thought it was safe. Maybe they're kind of waiting, sitting, resting on their laurels, waiting for a time to steal and brute force attack those private keys, end up losing massive amount, billions dollars worth of Bitcoin.
I like this guy says Bitcoin Cash sponsored theft.
So Chinese mining pool, who normally steals in crypto?
North Korea.
I don't think North Korea would steal from a Chinese mining pool.
Interesting.
Some would say that North Korean hackers are essentially a proxy of Chinese. Was it the PRC? I forget their CIA equivalent.
This is called the state, yeah.
Of the PRC. The PRC. So some would say, when you see North Korea Lazarus Group, it's China with the mask. I don't know anyone in the Lazarus Group. I don't know anyone in North Korea. I don't know anyone in the CRP here. But yeah, I could see that being a thing. So then it begs the question, well, who is it then? You think this was a CIA attack or like nerds in a basement?
Generally, I think it's nerds, people that have been here for a while that really understand this technology. Everything doesn't have to be a government conspiracy. I do think it's easy to go there, but generally speaking, we're in a free open market that's a PvP space. There's a lot of highly intelligent people that are very creative about trying to find ways to separate people from their money, whether that's through meme coins or scams or hacks. There's a lot of people hacking out there. That's one thing that makes Bitcoin so interesting. That's another thing that makes the hash rate interesting is basically Bitcoin has been the largest honeypot on the internet since its inception, and nobody's been able to hack it. So that doesn't mean there's not other attack vectors that all the smartest people in the world are looking for right now. And the main way to hack something is through social engineering or user generated error. So if they can find something like this, It makes
Well, the
sense.
brute force attack is the only thing that made me think it could be a larger situation. Maybe not like Malone who stole because House. I don't know the level of the brute force attack though.
I'm not saying it's not a highly organized, highly funded operation. I'm just saying every one of those operations doesn't have to be government or intelligence agency.
I said CRP is CCP or PRC, People's Republic of China. I was trying to say PRC, but my
CCP,
brain
yeah.
PP. So then I just confused the two and said CRP.
Yeah, as long as it's not the ICP, then we're fine.
And shout out to the CPR scene in The Office. Maybe the funniest scene in the entire show. Staying alive.
Yeah,
staying alive.
there's a lot of funny scenes in the show. But
all right, let's talk about XRP mentioned in USA Today. What do we do on Disco Fan? We don't trust, we verify. I didn't believe this when I saw this.
No, I saw it. There's a lot of controversy. Did you hear about? Well, go ahead. Cover the story first.
It's a Motley, so it's a subsidiary. But USA Today says XRP is the smartest cryptocurrency to buy with $500 right now. USA Today, boom, right there. XRP is the smartest cryptocurrency to buy with $500. Now they do say, basically just comparing it to the stock market. S&P 500, you're probably getting 10%. So if you put in $500, you're just going to get like $50 a year. And so they're saying, well, maybe you should check out XRP. Could give you a little bit better return there. They don't go any like insane with any kind of crazy predictions here. They do say, the main selling point. It's like person's first time reading about XRP style article. Oh, well, this is what a remittance payment. Is it too late to buy? Oh, well, third largest. So where they said slow and steady often wins the race. So they said you're going to get a good return, not a crazy return, a slow and steady return.
Yeah, which is why I would say buy Bitcoin. But this article brought to you by and sponsored by Brad Garlinghouse, and that's why it was getting a ton of hate over the weekend.
Is that confirmed?
It's not confirmed. It's rumored. I don't know that for sure, but this is.
Don't trust me, verify.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. That this is a paid piece. This isn't just an organic. Somebody at USA Today doesn't just genuinely believe that that's the best thing to do. Somebody funded that, and in the past we've known Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse and the likes to do that sort of thing. A lot of speculation that this is that again. I don't know it for sure. But it's definitely not organic. It is somebody made it happen, whether it was Garlinghouse or somebody else.
Oh man. It's almost like it's the world's their stage and everyone's just actors. All right, let's talk about now in Friday's member stream in the Discord. I did a big deep dive on Athena, and I would just say this change in supply since the Genius Act. We're seeing more Athena than Tether. That's very, very, very significant. This is supply in millions. So Athena didn't mint $2,700 worth. It did 2.7 million. 2.7 million. Yeah, 2,700. So millions. Okay, in millions, so billions there. I was like, that can't be enough. And then Tether did 2.4 billion since July 18th. Athena does have a big unlock. I covered this in the deep dive analysis that we did in the Discord. I wouldn't worry too much about this. This is well priced in. We went in, we looked at the token unlocks. This is like the first of 30 consecutive monthly unlocks. It's going to be a lot of unlocks in the future. I don't think the big, very well-connected whales like Andreessen Horowitz is going to start dumping their token month 2 out of 30. And when they're starting to accumulate the token, because if they start dumping now, the third month's tokens will be worth less. The fourth month's tokens will be worth less. They'll wait for a lot of liquidity, a lot of volume, and then they'll probably dump near a peak of a market.
Yeah, I was looking. Athena's up to almost top 30 in market cap today. Can you pull that? Do you still have that chart? The stable coins? Yeah, if you pull that back up, it's obviously there's flows into USDT as well. Interesting seeing the huge outflows of USDC. If you show, this is the one that basically this is kind of aggregating all of those. It's showing how much stablecoin supply came into Ethereum. This was over the weekend, almost $1 billion of new stablecoin into ETH over the weekend. Very, very interesting. But when it comes to stablecoins, this is a little bit out there and a little bit futuristic, but I do see a potential scenario. Fred Krueger put this out where stablecoins could ultimately completely change the way governments fund themselves by bypassing the bond market. And this,
I like the thesis, and it's basically saying instead of a 30-year bond, you'll have it as a 30-year smart contract.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
And that's where I was going to say with some of these other, I think this is a little bit long term. This is very just conceptual right now, but it is, I think, part of what Athena offers is more programmability within a stablecoin. It does offer some yield, and I think that's why it's very attractive to institutions that might potentially be betting on this thesis, and that it's much more long-term play than short-term play. This is not a play where people are looking to get into crypto and speculate and get out. This is people that are looking for a better place to park their cash where they can earn a little bit more yield than they might in the traditional markets. And this whole theory, this would be a huge upheaval of the entire system, but basically it would allow things like the treasury to bypass central banks and operate a lot of stuff independently, which, like I was saying earlier in the show, why I was saying the U.S. interests and the central bank's interests may not be aligned is because of theories like this. So something to keep an eye on. It's why we talk so much about stable coins. It really does create, it is the lifeblood of what is upending the, other than Bitcoin, upending the traditional financial system. And I do think eventually stable coins went out and everything is a stablecoin transaction, and that will take many different shapes.
And probably sometime in the next 3 to 9 months, I will tell you, stablecoin should be your favorite altcoin. Seriously, it's some of the best advice I've gotten in crypto. I do want to show this, and I'm going to show that one post you had. So it looks like Athena, $500 million crypto unlock. Oh my God, oh my God. No, Athena is only $99 million worth of unlock. It's happening tomorrow. So, you know, that is something, I think that's priced in. Now, we did talk about Arrow. It's going to integrate base DEXs. This is the other news I wanted to share. Solana's new phone, the Seeker. Call me the Seeker. Shipping today. So might be a mini Solana meme coin bull run coming. That's my prediction there. So Solana's about to start pumping. The phone is like, show me the chart. I'll show you the news. Like Solana's poised for a rebound. And then this is the day the phone hits. Probably going to be some, you know, exciting airdrops going to be announced with this phone. Maybe something with Bonk ecosystem. So
yeah, there's actually a couple. And then look at the BTC one there. It's saying the U.S. could potentially raise, or is going to raise tariffs on all countries on August 7th. So be prepared for volatility on that day. If that happens, it's likely going to be a downturn there. And there was one other. Sonic's first major upgrade, governance vote. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, a lot of big stuff this week in crypto. So.
And Silo, great TV show on Apple. I know you don't watch Apple TV. TJ there, but Silo is great, and I'm now in book 2.
Yeah,
I think it is Shift. Great book. Silo series, big shout out.
I want to. I just don't watch a lot of TV in general. I can't.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. We're living on X, man. We're in the metaverse. Okay, we're in the metaverse, and you're going to be in the metaverse if you smash that like button. Josh is traveling, and he's going to be landing in Dubai eventually. So we're going to have a travel video coming up from Josh momentarily. Keep an eye out on maybe interview with me and Crypto Crow. We're not sure we're going to post it on X, maybe post it on YouTube. Still looking at that. So big shout out to Crypto Crow. Big shout out to Lace. Go check out the Lace wallet. I will say is going to be the one-stop shop for your midnight tokens. People are asking, do I have to download? No, it's going to hit your other wallets in the form of an airdrop. But take all those random wallets that got some night token, take it all over to Lace, and then you can fully explore the ecosystem with the dust token, the night token, and any kind of maybe DeFi features that are going to be coming its way. So that's all we got for today. Smash the like on the way out. I do appreciate you sticking around to the end, and we'll take a little sip of coffee together. And I'll bid you adieu. 1, 2, 3.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.